Yes, my people. Welcome back to the channel. Redmen 2, you know what time it is. It is the Red Cartel. It is your boy Errol. I will be hosting another panel show tonight. Got a couple of fans in from, you know, the teams, the Man United lads. Got a lad over as well from Arsenal. We've got Tezza joining us on the way. Drifty's on his way. Got Tom Little in the building. I've got Dan United and I've got Cunha with me as well this evening. Talking all things silly season. As you can see from the title, people, it is snakes and sagas, because so far that is what we have seen from these opening couple of weeks within the transfer windows. And there's no guessing really who I'm talking about in relation to the snakes. His face is still on this thumbnail. And I'll be honest, it'll probably be the last time I talk about it on him and that on this show, to be fair, because after tonight, he's no longer my concern. He's no longer my business. I don't, and again, you guys might find this funny. You might not know what to make of this, but I don't know if there's a quicker way to be revoked of your black Scouse card than what he has done in the past 48 hours, because Scousers have abandoned him. And I, as a fellow black man, have abandoned them as well. I'm like, bro, you are an outcast. You are on your own. I don't know what box you tick when you click out those diversity forms anymore. You best start clicking out Spanish, because you are no longer black.
Married. He said he ticked married.
Married. Yeah, Spanish married. Because
living with partner.
Yeah, living in with partner. Because trust me, bro, right now, I feel like a lot of Liverpool fans have been vindicated in their respective feelings and considerations to how he had been dealing with the lead up to his inevitable departure from Liverpool Football Club. And this is just my stance. I said a couple of weeks back that when the booing was happening, people that pay their hard-earned money have every single right to express their feelings, given they feel as though they've been given the runaround by this lad. They have stuck with him. Not all fans, but there have been a selections of certain fan bases across the board that have felt there have been weaknesses in his game that are glaring, that are inexcusable. And Liverpool fans have said, no, we know that his defending 1v1 is never going to be his strongest suit. But what he gives us going forward is worth the deficiencies in his defensive game. And we've went so hard, defending him to the hill. Jamie Carragher's even said it. And then to treat the fans in such a way, to treat us as if we're naive, to treat us as if we don't actually have a clue and we don't actually need a little bit of decency, like we are that naive. I just think he's absolutely, completely misread the room, and he is absolutely damaged. In terms of his Liverpool, I know you're smiling, Dan United, but in terms of his Liverpool legacy, he has tarnished it beyond repair, in my opinion, at this moment in time. How we feel in 5 to 6 years' time might be different, but right now, in the cold light of day, Trent Alexander Anaconda is no longer a Liverpool legend. Am I right or am I wrong, people? Tell me.
100%, you're correct. I mean, I figured, you know what, this is a topic for us Liverpool fans to talk about. So I figured I'd attack this first and I'd go, hola, Errol, gracias por invitarme al canal, dale me gusta al video y suscríbete a todos los participantes del panel. I got it out the way now. Now I don't have a 500-day Duolingo streak like a certain right back does. And I was sat there for months. In January, I was crucified for saying you should start booing him, for saying I'm seeing through the lies. He has had this planned for 4 years. Everything from that contract that he signed back when he was 21 up until now has been pre-planned. And some people have been just blind to it. Some people have been blissfully ignorant. The fact of the matter is, someone who was sat there and used this club and used love for this club and used where he's from as a protection barrier has spat in the face of the people who've backed him from day dot.
Facts. And
he sits there, does interviews in a language that we can't understand, and acts like we're going to welcome him back in a couple of years.
No.
Oh, I can't wait to go back there.
Like, I've seen Latinas twerk worse than that. Do you get me? Like proper Latinas, proper heritage.
Mate, he couldn't wait to change his bio. He couldn't wait to change his bio on Instagram. You know, a minute after it was announced, it was Real Madrid. A minute after it was announced. I bet you he was sitting there on the phone to British Hughes going, sell me now. Sell me now. I'm not saying out my contract. Sell me now. Sell me now. Oh, everything. It's been quiet disrespect. It's been thinly veiled disrespect. And people have been blissfully ignorant to it. Or people have just been blindly ignorant to it. From day dot, it's been there. For him to come out and his team to come out in January and say, oh, we have no idea why Real Madrid are offering a transfer for them. We've not spoken to them. Do you think we're thick? For 2 fucking years, you've been directly linked with them. You've had a Duolingo account since November 2021. We're not stupid. We put pieces together. If you're going to sit there and try and lie to us and try and deceive us, we're going to see through it. And I don't want to spend any more time thinking about him. He's gone to Madrid. He's going to go have his lavish little lifestyle with his wife, Jude, in wherever they're staying. He's going to inevitably fuck up in El Clasico, get absolutely murdered by their fans, try and come back in 2 years' time, tail between his legs. We won't have him, and he'll end up doing shifts at Sunderland. And whose fault will it be? It'll be his own. That's the fact of the matter. I've got no reason to defend him. The only thing that I hate most from this entire saga is the fact that he got the send-off he got. The fact that he was allowed to disrespect us for as long as he did and then get treated like a king. The fact that Jürgen flew in and had a go at all of us for calling him out. Yeah. That's wrong. He got his dad to fly in and have a go at all the people calling him a bit of a knobhead because he was a bit of a knobhead. What are we supposed to do? That's where it shouldn't be. That's where he shouldn't have stepped in. We were entirely right to boom.
Let me ask Tezza this, because I've just made a statement, Tezza, that I've never seen anybody be revoked of their Scouse and black card so fast as I have Trent Alexander-Arnold in the last 48 hours. Now, I know you're not a Liverpool fan, but you are Scouse and black. So I need your perspective on this here situation. Big up Drift as well. Drift, we're just unpacking some snakes on the plane. Do you get me? We're just getting that out the way.
Okay. The 12th apostle.
Yeah, one of them ones, bro. But I just to summarize again very quickly, I was just explaining to Tezza that as a black man from Liverpool, I've never seen another black Scouser have their black Scouse card revoked so quick in the past 48 hours. Now, Tezza's obviously not a Liverpool fan, but he is black and Scouse. So I was just about to just check him real quick and just see, from the optics of all of this, I want to know if you can understand why Liverpool fans now feel vindicated for the way that we have treated them, or at least expressed our frustration in the last 2 to 3 months. Tezza?
Yeah, I mean, I can understand, especially after the video of when, you know, he's there and he's speaking Spanish fluently. So obviously that has showed that he made his mind up probably from January or maybe even earlier than that, because, like, if the opportunity to join Real Madrid had just come suddenly and he made a quick decision, you know, he wouldn't have probably had the opportunity to kind of develop his Spanish for the press conference. And I do understand, especially from, I think it was the trophy parade after that, when he kind of said, you know, perfect send-off for me, when it was more to do with, you know, Liverpool and celebrating winning the league. He made it a little bit about himself, which in the moment, I think you probably look back and think, yeah, that was a bit daft. Like, that wasn't the time to do it. And I didn't watch the full press conference of him at Real Madrid, but I did see some of the comments where he mentioned talking about, you know, I watched this club win 3 Champions Leagues growing up. And I think Liverpool fans were saying one of them.
Bro, he was on the pitch. He was on the pitch. He was at the back post doing a goal settings, man. Like,
Tez, who did he mention watching at Real Madrid, by the way? Who did he mention? He mentioned 2 players, by the way. 2 players.
I mean, you'd
think he'd mention McManaman, Owen,
Alonso.
No. My guy mentioned Beckham and Ronaldo, by the way. That's facts.
I mean, that it shows kind of like in his head he thinks of himself, whether that's rightly or wrongly, as a superstar. And does he have the fame? And
superstar can defend the back post.
Well, yeah, but in terms of just like a brand for himself, he probably sees himself
I love this.
Someone being able to get up to the level of Beckham and Ronaldo. He probably won't, but he probably admires the trajectory of, you know, them getting to the heights of the pinnacle of football. I think for him, he's probably, obviously Liverpool fans aren't going to like this, but I think he's played like a clever move of learning the language and kind of not pandering, but he's almost fully embraced that he's going to be a Madrista already by speaking in Spanish and kind of showing his admiration for the club. And I think it buys himself a little bit of time, even if his performances aren't going to, they might not be at the top level straight away because it's a difficult club to kind of.
So basically, what you've said is him speaking in Spanish at that intro press conference has covered him for the first disaster class against the Getafe winger who cuts him inside out with 15 dribbles.
That was very specific.
I'm just venting. I remember something happened like that with Burnley and Dwight McNeil for 3 years running, so I'm just, trying to translate it over to Spain.
Didn't mention it then, though, did you?
Tez, do you know what? Yeah, what's crazy? Yeah, I don't want to generalize, so maybe I'm talking for myself here, but I think a lot of people relate to what I'm gonna say. So we grow up in England, yeah, very ignorant to other languages because we don't even need to learn other languages. I've never been on holiday and needed to speak the language of where I am. We're just ignorant like that as English people, right? So if you don't live in the country, do you know how difficult it is to get fluent at that language without maximum effort, bro? And that effort doesn't come without actual need for.
1,000 hours, bro. He's been doing this.
Do you get what I mean? So for you to get to that level, you needed a tutor. You needed months of preparation, bro. He fluently did an interview in another language of a country he's never even lived in. Bro, correct. He planned this so much, bro.
No, that's my whole point.
It is so obvious, bro.
That is my point. He's obviously, and this is where it's kind of difficult because obviously I don't support Liverpool, but from his point of view, so I've heard Liverpool fans say he should have probably announced that he was going to leave way earlier, and I don't think there's a win-win situation for him. Obviously, the way it's panned out it's got worse as time has gone on, but if he had said beginning of the season, I'm not going to sign a contract and leave, I don't know whether then he would have been allowed to kind of crack on with the football until January happened and when Real Madrid showed interest. So he was always in a lose-lose situation. It's just that he's kind of made it worse for himself as the second half of the season's gone on. So I do understand why Liverpool fans would be upset because obviously, as you mentioned, the way he spoke Spanish, he didn't fumble at all. That's someone who's planned it. He's probably
someone who never missed a day on Duolingo.
How old are you, mate? How old are you?
Who, me?
Yeah.
32.
Perfect. So you remember when Beckham signed for Madrid, and I remember Beckham's attempt at trying to welcome himself to Madrid. This guy's ready to release a single in Madrid. This guy was spitting. It was spitting. It was. It's hard. I mean, I kind of Tez and I will be able to attest to this with losing some of our best players to Madrid, but I've never lost a homegrown player like this on a free transfer, and I think that's the thing that he's completely done himself over with. I kind of take your point. Maybe you should have said something at the start of the season, but this guy would have been under so much scrutiny. I think he had to. He couldn't say at the start of the season, "Do you know something? This is the last dance." Because every performance, then we saw what happened after he'd officially announced he was going. He was booed. I think he's played it the way he's had to play it. Now, do I think it's right the way he's played it? Absolutely not. He's one of your local boys. He gets it.
I disagree though, Dan. I think whoever's been in his ear, they've advised him poorly.
No, but you know what, Errol? Let's not even let him get away with that one, bro. He's a grown man, you know what I mean? Because I've seen people blaming his brother and stuff, and even though his brother's a part of it, he's a grown up, bro. At some point, he's got to take his own responsibility, and even if it is bad advice, he took the advice, bro. This is all on Trent for me, bro.
Yeah, no, but at the same time, I think I agree that there's a level of he has to be accountable for his own actions, and as I say, no one tell him when he scores a goal to celebrate and start doing all of this. You can just be a little bit more mute or a bit more cute about what you do in the public eye. But in terms of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and in terms of obviously the advice that's been given and the PR and how he wants to kind of spin things, I just think that when again, and this has happened, Trent's not the only one that this will have happened to, but when players have agents that are family members or really close to them that have only really come up through being on their coattails, so to speak, what they don't have is a depth of knowledge of the football industry. They might have an understanding and a knowledge of the football club that they're at, and that might be second to none. But in terms of the wider football industry, how snaky other sporting directors can be, how mischievous other teams, all those other cloak and dagger tactics, that is learned behavior that professionals that have been in the game for 20, 30 years know how to navigate themselves through. They are still very much novices trying to navigate and deal with the biggest football club in the world in Real Madrid, thinking that they're on parity with them. They thought, we are your equals in this deal, and Real Madrid will just bully you constantly. They will just get you on a dog lead and walk you round and parade you how they want, and you're in their back pocket. And I think that's where the missteps have come into it, and it's become a trap that he's not been able to maneuver himself out of, and he's digged himself a bigger hole month on month by shying away from his actual first team responsibilities and then allowing it to creep into performances and allowing it to creep into the public eye in the way that he did. That's what I believe anyway.
I mean, I'm not shocked that his departure's gone this wrong. You know, his agents have never nailed it before. His agents, when his agents the same ones that done Henderson's departure, which was notoriously bad for the way it was handled.
Yeah.
You know, his agents have never known how to handle departure, and this was always going to be a tetchy one at the best of times.
Yeah. I don't know how Errol and Tom feel as not only Liverpool fans, but also a Scouser. So I don't know if this is what you lot feel as well. But from my point of view, what annoys me more and to Dan and Tez's like questions about I don't think he could have left in any way good, boys. For a start, it was just worse and worse. Do you get what I mean? Like, so if you want to leave your family, there's no good way to do it. Do you get what I mean? Like, it's a similar kind of thing. Like, it doesn't matter what excuse you give your wife or your kids, you're leaving the family, you're wrong, regardless. So it's kind of like that. But for me, when I look at people who is one of them's a terrible human being, is Suarez, Coutinho. Like, when I look at some of the other people who've left the club, they gave Liverpool reassurances of money by signing new deals that actually gave Liverpool, like Suarez had a buyout clause that became obvious, and he still signed a new contract for Liverpool to get more money for him. Before he left, he did that. Coutinho did the same thing. For Trent to have not only maneuvered the way he has, but to make sure Liverpool don't get money so he maximizes his end, for me, I think that's what sits even worse with people, because he wanted that signing on fee. He wanted, and if Madrid said we won't buy you unless it's free, you're a sucker, bro. So the club don't even really want you then. So you're only going there because you're free. If they had to pay for you like 80 mil or whatever it is, which is what you're worth, because Barcelona paid value for Suarez, Barcelona paid value for Coutinho. If Madrid really wanted you, they'd pay the value. I saw Timo Werner signed a new deal with RB Leipzig because he was an academy boy and he didn't want to leave the club for free. So he signed a new deal and then moved to Chelsea the following year for a fee. The fact that Trent has done everything in his power to only make it about him, in my opinion, is what makes it worse than any of the other transfers we've seen that are similar. Like that for me anyway. I don't know if you lot agree, but
that and the fact that the other similar ones, you're looking at McManaman, you're looking at Owen, and you'll put your logical hat on for this. The teams that McManaman and Owen were in were not competitive. I know the one that Owen was in went on to win a Champions League, but that's one in a fucking million. That team should never have won a Champions League, but it did. But those teams were never going to give you sustained success. Trent Alexander-Arnold's been in the best Liverpool team of the 21st century. That has not only won a league title before, but the very season he's angled to leave, where he was probably banking on as being
I think that made it worse as well. I think that made it worse. I think there was part of his narrative in his head in the summer.
Oh yeah, he needed us to be shit. He needed us to be shit so he could go, I need to go.
A valid justification. It's time for me to move on. But that being said, we're 20 minutes in and my head's hot again, and I'm not trying to do that the rest of this weekend. So the last thing I'll say is
he's an afterthought now, Errol. He's an afterthought.
He is. So we could Trent Alexander Anaconda can go along and go about his business.
I only wanted to ask one question about that, And the only question I was
If you
going to have
stare
was
upon now, I am going to
No,
exit
I
you
just
so
wanted,
quick.
I just wanted to ask Tezza and Dan, right? Because obviously they're going to be impartial to a degree in the realms of football, bias aside. No matter how it takes to get there, do you say no to Real Madrid?
See, this is the thing that I goes through my head. I understand the logical side of yes, I am playing for my boyhood club, and one day I might be captain, but I'm also mid-20s. If I say no to Real Madrid now, will Real Madrid ever give me the opportunity to sign?
And you can flip it, Tez. You can flip it. If this was a United player that had done this, I kind of feel like Liverpool fans would probably look at it the same way. This is football. It's not great. It's going to hurt. I get it. I mean, I'm loving the fact now that Liverpool fans are now starting to admit just how poor he was at defending. Love that. Absolutely love that. But at the same time, this unfortunately is the way football is going. And Drifty said it exactly right before. Players now know that if they run down that contract, they are going to get so much money with that signing on fee now. It's the way that the transfer system's going. We're obviously seeing Wirtz going into you guys for over 100 million, but I think these transfers with the big players will start to slow down. I think people will start running that contract down more and more.
Well, that's just the Madrid model.
Money.
That's how they got Mbappe. That's how they got Mbappe.
Exactly
that's the Madrid model. But
It
is what it is.
Got Messi.
Yeah, and it is what it is. So
he has to come back to Anfield as well. Sorry to cut you out. But we play Madrid every year. We play Madrid every single year. He has to come back. And you know what? Florian Wirtz left wing just for that game. I want to rip this little pussy to shreds. Like, Wirtz left wing, let's go.
Just imagine he gets hat-trick.
That game's a real problem, though, because all our team are going to drift to the left-hand side. We're going to have about 5 left wingers on the day. Everyone's going to sit there and go, you know what? Get me out there. I can get him. Honestly, God.
Right.
I want that Daniel Agger and Torres treatment. Do you not remember when Torres came back to Anfield and Agger just
crunched
bang,
him,
just clotted him? Yeah, bruv, I want some of that, man.
But before we obviously talk about Florian Wirtz, obviously in the Here We Go there is a little bit of a tug of war between two of the teams in this panel over Gyökeres. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah,
Gyökeres, yeah. Looks like it was before Man United didn't get Champions League football. There was a strong possibility that he could head to Old Trafford. Now that they haven't got it, it's still not dead in the water, I'm led to believe. But Arsenal have eventually now, through their ring in the hat, or the hat in the ring, whichever way round it should be, to try and get this signing. Are you spying out over the same guy? Who needs him more? Who's he going to help more? Does he take Arsenal over the top, Connor? Get used to the league title? Does he take Manchester United back to being competitive into the top 4? Who's going to put the money down for this player?
But I think it's only as bad as it is, or as crazy as a saga as it seems, because of people like Fabrizio Romano, right? Because without them, we'd just be waiting. Which it would, because we get so much information now all the time. Look at transfer windows like 10 years ago. Yeah, you'd get that excitement of, I didn't even know this was happening. Boom, someone's here, because you didn't have someone constantly giving you, this is happening, this is here. Breaking news. We finally have some potential talks. That's not breaking news, man. That's not breaking news. That's just a rumor. Or breaking news. This team's interested. That's not breaking news. It's just interest. So I think it's been built up to more than it is. Like they said, we were after him right from the start. We wanted him in January, but now, only just now, we've apparently put in a bid for the exact amount that everyone said he was available for, that Sporting have now come out and said prior to us putting the bid in that we're not accepting that much. Like, I think it's just been inflated so much.
It's annoying because at first everyone thought no one was going for Gyökeres because we thought no one liked him or there was something wrong with him. And now we realize it's because the club are like, oh yeah, that handshake, we're Harry Kane in that. Yeah. Nah, that ain't real.
Because their director of football that agreed on it is now Man City's director of football. So now he's gone. They've said, no, that don't count no more. It ain't there. We have nothing to do with this. Personally, I want the guy. I don't care. People talk about, but he's in the Portuguese league. He's still against top clubs. He's doing it in the Champions League. I'm not going to Darwin Núñez this guy, because look at the other players that have come from playing to a top standard in the Portuguese league and gone to take over the world at their respective clubs, right? The man's got over 100 goals in 2 seasons in all competitions just for that club. The numbers are scary. I want him, right? Our main focus has seemed to be, up until a couple of days ago, Sesko. Still, I don't know why. For me, in my eyes, he's got a few more years of development. He should be a second string striker somewhere behind a real top level striker. But
isn't that why you want him though, bro? Because there is rumors that it's because Arteta isn't giving up on Havertz, so he'd rather have a young player who won't moan.
I wouldn't play him second string behind Havertz.
No, but apparently that's what Arteta, because Arteta, and again, because Arsenal operate the same way Liverpool do, where you've got to be sensible. Because you do have Havertz on nearly 300 grand a week, you can't just really put him on the bench, can you? That's a lot of money to just sit on the bench. So apparently, Sesko, that's the reason you'd rather have someone who in a few years will be Gyökeres, but for now, he won't moan when he's on the bench. Do you get what I mean? So
that's why
I've heard anyway.
That's why I'm honestly not concerned about this Arsenal link, because there's no way that Arsenal are going to have Sesko, Gyökeres, and Havertz fighting for that same position. We know Arteta absolutely adores Havertz. I can't see it. I don't know about you, Tez. I'm chilling about Gyökeres. United have got a great relationship with Lisbon as well. We've had a great relationship with them for years. We've got Amorim. I'm honestly not concerned. Am I shocked that there's a potential that we're going to get him? Absolutely, but I'm not concerned. Not concerned at all.
I think the worry for Arsenal fans has to be that Arteta's not given up on the Havertz midfield thing. He's just put it on the back burner for a couple of years. And if he gets that striker in, he sits there and goes, Martin Odegaard had a bit of a dodgy season. Let me try Kai in that position as like this late box crashing runner who's got a bit of height about him. Because we know that Arteta, since that first year when he missed out on the title, has entirely shit the bed, forgot football and philosophies, and wants giants everywhere on the pitch. So if he can put that 6'4" man there, it's Kai Havertz. It works as much as Kai Havertz works.
Well, you don't think Kai Havertz making late runs into the box is more effective than just up front already? Like, I don't know. I think he would actually be
He's got that in Mikel Moreno. He's got that in Moreno anyway.
It's more effective for the 4 games where teams are a bit sort of shocked by it, and then teams just go, Kai Havertz in the box, let's just put a bit on him then, and he shakes. That's Kai Havertz for you. Like, it's never going to...
I'm just trying to not be shady. Because I know we always like to throw shade at Arsenal, but I'm just trying to be like logical for once and thinking his profile might actually suit box crashing more than playing in midfield as an 8 or actually being a false 9. Like, it might suit it more.
If they can put enough people in the box for him to constantly have space to run into, it'll work. Because Kai Havertz is very good in space. But it's when there's not enough and a defender just puts them on Kai Havertz and Havertz has to get into a bit of a physical battle. Half the time with it, he just goes, I can't be arsed. And then he gets bullied off the ball way too easily for someone of his size. So,
or he spends too much time getting wrapped up in the physical battle and forgets where the ball is on the pitch and where he actually should be positioning himself. I've seen him do that a few times as well, to be fair.
Yeah, I think with Gyökeres, with relation to Man United, I think he's on the list of 4 or 5 players' names. For United, it's going to be based on finances. So I think obviously they're trying to get Mbeumo done, and then after that they're going to make sales.
Spurs might be raiding that.
He might end up at Spurs,
we have to talk about that, United boys. We have to talk about Mbeumo.
They snatch your Europa League and then they snatch your top target.
Now they've got Thomas the Frank engine as well.
I don't think the proposition of him going to Spurs is going to change anything. Even though Thomas Frank goes there, the only way it changes anything is if Spurs are willing to pay more money and United say, I'm not going to match that fee. That's where...
Have you seen his quotes, though, Tez? He's actually quoted saying Spurs seems more intriguing than United. I'm not going to lie, that's a quote, bro. That's not even a made-up rumor. That's a quote.
Maybe now, though, because Thomas Frank has gone there, he's probably looking at it.
No, that's why. That's why it is.
Yeah, but hang on a sec. Yeah. Hang on. Wait. The reports coming out last week were that he set his heart on United. Those were the reports from quite reputable journalists. Are you telling me that Thomas Frank woke up on Monday and went, actually, do you know I'm going to go to Spurs? Like, that's been happening for a while. You can't tell me that Thomas Frank hasn't been saying to him already, look, I'm going Spurs. I want you to come with me. I think it's smoke. I think he still comes to United. I'm not worried. The only thing that worries me, like Tez says, is if we don't pay the money that Spurs are willing to pay. If we get into a bidding war, we will lose that because we can't afford to do what they're doing. But again, I'm not worried. I'm genuinely not worried.
And then, so do you think that's just let me to clarify? Do you think you're going to get Mbeumo and Gyökeres then? Gyökeres?
Mbeumo, but not so sure on who the striker is. It really does then depend on finances, because for United, after say we sign Mbeumo and we give Brentford 60 mil or plus add-ons, whatever, depending on what we then do with the likes of Rashford, Sancho, Anthony, etc., will then determine how much we are going to spend. And I think from what I see, United don't want to give Sporting the money that they want, which is around 70 million. I think if they were to go for Gyökeres, they would want to try and conjure up a deal where it's probably 20 million less with some add-ons on it. And that then just depends on how much money you've got, because there's still a talk of potentially signing a centre midfielder or a goalkeeper as well. So we need to be clever in that sense. I think Gyökeres will probably suit Arsenal a bit more, just because I think even though his game would probably be more suited to United, running into space, running into the channels, kind of fighting defenders on the halfway line, him being at Arsenal, because they're a Saka, because there's Odegaard, because they probably might sign another winger, it'll probably take a bit more pressure off him. Whereas he's coming to United, the whole front line is new, and everyone's looking for him as well to spearhead it on top. Whereas if he came into Arsenal, I think, like as Tom was saying, or like yourself was saying, Havertz is still the kind of the guy in a sense, and I think there'll be times.
Do you think he's got the kind of feel like he's got the personality though, the belief in himself that he thinks he could probably come and do that? Like we've had to deal with Højlund, who looks scared of his own shadow. We've had a striker up front for us all season that's done absolutely nothing. Højlund 14.
He scored against Bournemouth.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, let's okay, perfect. But 14 goals and assists in 52 games, Højlund this season. Gyökeres 67 goals and assists in 52 games. This guy is going to come and think he is the man to take it over. Honestly, I think it is ignorance on my part, but I'm not worried. I think he's coming.
I think maybe, but the thing is, he's doing that against teams that, somehow defend on the halfway line, and he's able to spin in and run behind them in the Premier League.
Yeah, we're not going to expect him to score 30, 40 goals in the Prem, Des, but
it's not even the scoring the goals, it's the way he plays. I think that's what some United fans are not too keen on, because we've had Højlund, and personally Højlund, for me, he doesn't do enough outside of trying to get into the box. I don't think his touch is good enough. I don't think his movement's good enough. He doesn't battle with defenders enough. Gyökeres might do those things, but also he's been doing that not against Premier League standard defenders. So does that translate into the Prem? When he comes up and we go away to Newcastle and Dan Burn and Sven Botman are punching him in the back of the head, is he able to hold the ball up, or away at Liverpool when Konate and Van Dijk are clamping him? So I think that's where there's a bit more of an issue.
He's not new to English football, though. He has had an experience of English football. But the one thing I would say about Championship is when you've got these Premier League players, and a lot of Premier League players have said it, there's times where they'll leave a ball, or they'll let a player have a ball because they know they're not going to get it. Mm-hmm. In the Championship, everyone thinks they're going to win it all the time. So sometimes they say like the physicality or the consistency of the physicality can actually be more difficult, because you do have less time, because they're not as smart in terms of football IQ. Thinking, I'm not going to see that, so let me just wait him out. Let me show him to the line, whatever. One thing I will say, if he does go to United, even if we don't offer for him, I'm going to be fuming. I'm going to be fuming as a person, because how have you gone from, like Dan just says, 67 goals and assists in 52 games this season? You are the most sought after striker on the planet in most people's eyes, and you choose to go to 16th place Man United.
Biggest club in the world,
boys.
No, that's Real Madrid. That's Real Madrid, which is why Trent's just gone there.
Yeah, listen, all these players that are coming out, they're saying it's their dream. Cunha's saying it's his dream. And Mbeumo's talking about his favourite player growing up was Cristiano. Ekatike is talking about Rashford and Martial. these players still
This
have
is the
that.
playbook, Tez, man. This is I've just signed for the club playbook. We all know this. Script, bro.
And the
Yeah,
money's
man.
long.
Romance
The
alive.
United money's long. The other thing as well, what you have to. This is what worries me when people, when your club's competitive and you've got players that want to come for you, it's because they've got a point to prove. They feel that they need to prove a point because you're already at a certain standard and certain level. Whether you guys like it or not, and whether we take the piss or not, United have had a bit of a fall from grace in the last 10 years. What that means now, and this is what happened with Jose Mourinho, it's what happened with the likes of Pogba, it's what's happened with the likes of Bruno Fernandes. Their egos are so big that they think they can be the one to bring you back. And I think that's what worries. Again, if I was a Man United fan, that's what would worry me. That all these players that say, it's still my dream, I still want to play for United, even if they're not where they was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, I still want to play for that United shirt. I think it's because they, and again, to an extent, you need to have that self-belief, but it's the overinflated egos for me, because up until now, not one of them have stuck. And it's worked and has taken you back upwards in a trajectory. It's just been slowly unraveling. And that's where I get worried. Like, the thing that makes me a little bit more leveled out with it is probably because the profile of these players, it's not been like the Di Marias, the Falcaos. It's not been those big superstar Galactico-esque names. We're talking about Mbeumo's players that have been in the Prem before. You know, you're talking about Gyökeres, who's played in the Championship, he's played in Portugal. There is an element that maybe they've just got that, they're in that sweet spot that believe, this is the right club. Right now, it's the right time because I can't, like, my profile can't be damaged by this move in any way, shape, or form. I am still going to be good enough based on their recent history. But that's what does worry me for United sometimes.
That's the problem we've had. Sorry, Tez. I was going to say that's the problem we've had, though. I think with Manchester United for so long, we've not brought in players who know what they're doing in the Premier League. We've signed 10 players, albeit take away the loans and all that, from the Premier League in the last 12 years, I think it is. Just 10. You need to have people that know how to play this league. You do. You can bring in players around them who then bring the flair and bring the bits with them, but you need the players who know this league. And if we get Mbeumo with Cunha, I think it changes the dynamics of the team completely. I absolutely do. And I will go as far as saying with Mbeumo and Cunha, we talked about Bruno trying to do everything on his own. How much of a burden is that going to take off Bruno next season? How much of a burden is that going to take off this bloke? Because, like him or not, this season's been the one season I've looked at him and thought, you've got the weight of this club on your shoulders. You're the only person doing anything this season. You have got the weight of the world. So I think it's going to be an interesting take with Manchester United. The Gyökeres thing isn't going to happen for a long time, by the way. We have got civil war going on in Lisbon at the moment. He said, she said. We've got voice recordings. We've got this. We've got that. That's going to take weeks to get through. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it ends up, but I don't know.
And to your point as well, Dan, and to what you were saying, Errol, I think the difference is, those players that United were kind of looking at to be the one to bring them back. Typically, maybe bar the season when we brought Ronaldo, Varane, and Sancho, but typically over the years, we've just added one at a time. This seems like the first time in 5-6 years where the recruitment's a bit better and they've said, you know what, we need 3 or 4 at the same time. So Cunha doesn't come in and say it's Cunha because Bruno's already there. Bruno then looks to Cunha looks to Mbeumo, Mbeumo looks to whoever the striker is. The strikers then look to whoever the players have been there, albeit not be the top players, but your likes of Maguire and Shaw, etc., who've been there for X amount of years. Then you've got Ahmad who said, well, actually, without me for half the season, you've probably really been relegated. So you then have 6 or 7 players who think they are the ones, and that kind of builds everybody else up, because when the guy who thinks they are the best is having a bit of a quiet game, someone else can stand up. I think a lot of the times, maybe barring 2021 where we had that Pogba, Greenwood, Martial, Cavani team, we haven't had enough of those characters. We had too many characters who are looking at one player and all the pressure is on that one player. Whereas Liverpool, I know they've got Salah, but Liverpool still have Van Dijk, Alisson. You've got the spine, you've got Gravenberch now as well. And you also know that if they're not doing it, there's other players who can come in and chip in. Same with Arsenal, with like Rice and Gabriel Saliba, Saka, the star guy. So I think we're trying to build the egos, but also have multiple of them. So if one doesn't do it, there's another one who can do it.
Ted, and with that, mate, this is what really fucked me off with. I don't know if I can say that before 9, but what really fucked me off with Keno this season when he went in on Bruno, and I thought this is the only guy at the moment that looks like he's doing anything for Manchester United. If you're going to go for a player, go for the other 10 that are absolutely balls in it every week. Do you know what I mean? So I agree with you. I think having that 4 or 5 in the squad, in the team now, I think it's going to make us better. Of course, it's going to make us better. You know, we're not expecting some United fans, if we get these, will do it. And you boys know this. You've all followed football long enough to know that there will be some United fans, if we get these players in, if we do, will say, well, that's it. No European football. We should challenge for the Premier League. Yeah. That isn't going to happen. That isn't going to happen. Our first job has to be getting back into European football. Simple as that. Then see where the rest of it takes us.
Can I just ask the United boys a quick question? Because I don't know enough, so maybe you lot can just correct me and I'm just wrong. But the way you guys play in the Amram system, which he's not going to change, right? He said he's going to play that. Is Mbeumo going to be more of a striker? Because you've got Bruno, who doesn't work in a pivot or deeper in the midfield. He is better further forward. That's where Cunha plays. And Mbeumo plays wide. You don't have a wide player. You've got Ahmad, who's arguably your best attacker. Like, how do you? I know you need squads, but how do you even fit these guys all in?
Ahmad's hitting the bench.
No, Ahmad's going wide right. Ahmad's going that way. Sorry, Tez, go on. You go first, mate.
No, are you playing Ahmad at wing back?
Yeah, he will. He probably will, but also you need to think of it as it's not just the 11; it's 16 players, and from those 16 players, you need the flexibility to change depending on the opposition. So, in an ideal 11, yeah, it'll be Ahmad right wing back, it will be Mbeumo right 10, Cunha left 10, a striker, Dorgu left wing back, and I do agree with you, Drift. There is an issue of Bruno then is seen as one of the centre mids, which I'm not really a fan of. I think he's played centre mid for United because in games where, you know, there's a bit more space and the opposition is kind of attacking us a bit, he's able to then drop into midfield and he has more time on the ball. But him starting there is an issue because he's not really a centre midfielder. He's someone you want to get closer to the opposition goal. So, but at the same time, I don't mind that because now what really should be the message is, well, Bruno, if you're not going to turn it on, Cunha and Mbeumo will play. And you sit on the bench and you come on in certain games. And then there's certain games where Cunha's not doing it. And it's like, well, we've got Bruno and Mbeumo. And if Mbeumo's not doing it, it's like, well, Ahmad's the guy. So I kind of like that competition.
Bruno holding bench, though, bro. Like, is Bruno holding bench for his
no
ego?
chance?
No
chance.
It'll be Bruno and another in that sense.
He might not be, but the other guys, you're playing at a big club. Look at City. Foden holds bench now and again.
But City Foden's not their captain. Do you know what I mean? And Kevin De Bruyne was only holding bench in the last season because his legs had fell off in what that City system needed. So,
but my point is that
City can also justify it a little bit more as well because they're winning trophies. So these players that are sitting on the bench are going, you know what? I am sitting on the bench. I'm getting limited minutes, but at the end of the season, I'm still playing my part to win the big honours.
What trophy did they win this season? Sorry.
Okay, so one season out of each, they haven't won anything.
I'm just saying.
But you've got credit in the bank, though, Dan. I think that's Tom's point. I think that's Tom's point. Really, the wider point is they've got credit in the bank when Pep wants to make those calls. Whereas,
regardless of that, though, so for example, they've signed Shirky. Shirky already knows that he has to be on top of his game to start 3 games in a row because he probably won't because Foden's there, or Doku will come in, or Savinho will come in, or Mamouche will play, and they're ahead of him in the pecking order. So even if he does come in and he's like, why am I not playing? Pep has already said to them, this is what we do at City. The only player who's going to start every game if they're fit really is Haaland. He's the one. Mamouche, it's looking like, but there's already 2 spots. So everybody knows that you'll play 2 games, you'll be on the bench for 2, you play for 1, you'll be on the bench for 3, you start 4 in a row. He does it with centre-backs as well. So I think what United should do, I mean, I'm not Amram, but United should look to that model to say that, like, no, it's better to have 5 players who play 27 games than look at 1 player who needs to play 38 in the league and then we wonder why their form drops off or why they can't maintain it because they're exhausted. That's United's biggest issue. Like,
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Just before we carry on, lads, bear in mind we've got 340 people in the building with us. Thank you very much for support and thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure you do drop a little bit of a like on the stream as well. I don't even know where they're up to in terms of the likes. We've got 77, so you man are sleeping on it, really.
230 short.
Yeah, we're only on 78, man. We're only on 78.
Run the likes up a little bit, people. Friday night vibes, you know what the drill is. And we've got a super chat here from Sammy Boy Jr. Thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Can you Scousers paint over Trent Muriel with a picture of Speedy Gonzalez, the real Spanish ratata?
I mean, I know Gonzalez weren't great for us, but he weren't that bad.
I think there will be probably plans in place to make changes to that wall at some point because that can't stay there much longer.
All I could hear in my mind when I saw that super chat was "Andale."
Trent probably knows what that means as well.
Yeah.
100%,
man, 100%. But
he knows how to say "I snake Liverpool" in Spanish as well, Tom. He knows how to say it.
Yeah.
But then he'll track back on that, won't he? He'll try and track back on that more than he's ever tracked back on the football pitch.
Connor, let me just ask you that quick. From your perspective, look, Manchester United are in a position now where, irrespective of their league finish and no Champions League football, they are prepared to start making these deals happen now. Cunha's already over the line. They want to get Mbeumo over the line. They've still got aspirations for Gyökeres. Liverpool have already secured Frimpong, and we have already confirmed Florian Wirtz. As an Arsenal fan now, the gap has just increased a little bit more for the league leaders to yourselves. Are you worried that Arsenal are not doing the right level of business quick enough? Or do you think there's plenty of time to get the right people in the door this summer for Mikel Arteta? Just be honest.
I don't know if worried is the right word because this has gone on too long for me to be worried about anything anymore. Pissed off, frustrated, annoyed, yes. Worried, I'm like, honestly, if this was like a couple of years ago, yeah, I'd probably be anxious as hell. But worry doesn't even enter my system now because if it doesn't happen, I'm like, well, here we fucking go again. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think that will happen, though, G?
What you was about saying, we can't afford for it. No, because we've got right up there. We need to take that next step. So we need to be actually getting these deals done. I think it's taken a while to kind of be drilled into the culture of the board and the owners of
a while. They've been there for 18 years, lad. No. You can't. No. You can't say it takes a while for the culture. No.
Don't twist my words here. I said it's taken them a while now since we've now got Andrea Berta in, who supposedly has these ideas and plans, who is trying to get these phone calls out and have these conversations, these deals done for the board to actually understand that what it is they've got going on is shit and they need to get on board with new ideas to say, okay, right, you do the job that we're actually hiring you to do. I think they're far too involved in everything that goes on in the club. And I think that's what slows down a lot of progress.
The better thing's not gone off to the greatest start, though, has it?
No, it hasn't. But I feel like that's where what I'm talking about is that almost miscommunication within the higher levels in the club.
Are you not worried Arteta's got too much power?
I don't think Arteta has as much power as people think. I don't think he wants 24 left backs.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him the way he fucking plays. I think that's an Arteta decision, to be honest.
I don't think he has.
Up until Berta was there, bro. In the hierarchy, there was no other sporting people. Arteta was the most experienced sporting person in the hierarchy until Berta showed up.
It was Arteta and Edu.
Yeah, right.
Edu just barbecued food. He didn't do any work.
Literally, and done some dodgy deals with some Brazilians to get some backhanded brown envelopes. But aside from that, the reality is Arteta has had a lot of control and a lot of say. When he took the manager role as opposed to just a head coach, he enabled himself to have, whether it was the final decision or the final say, the players that get put across his desk, he gets to either approve or veto them and say no. And ultimately, there are players there. There are a number of left backs that have all been signed. There are a load of other positions, defensive positions. He stockpiled defensive positions first and foremost, and he's neglected the forward line. And I don't know whether that's just because he, as a manager, again, as a bit of a midfielder anyway in his game, doesn't appreciate that when you have, and he's been around dressing rooms full of baller players, to be fair, so he should have an appreciation for the fact that when you are a top striker, you have to be handled differently than you're handling your squad players and the players that flesh out the squad for you. You've got a striker there. You've got to make them feel like they are the spearhead. They are going to be able to galvanize you onto some relative level of success in one form or another. I don't feel he's given enough criticism at times to the fact that he's had plenty of opportunities to sign a striker and he's opted for in-house internal solutions, or he's tried things to be clever as a coach that simply haven't delivered to the levels that Arsenal fans have wanted and you would expect to see from 4 or 5 years worth of processes and building of that squad. That squad building now, whether you like it or not, mate, it should be getting refreshed. And I think Man United have got to do wholesale changes, and I think most of their big changes will be the outgoings, getting rid of what's not good and keeping a small squad of quality players. But they could do that with 4 or 5 players. Liverpool have got the squad there, and really now we're trying to double down and go again because we want to strengthen from a position of strength. Arsenal have now got to get 4 or 5 players in, and so far you're dragging your feet. There's no real concrete movement when you guys need probably the most.
But like I said to you, it's frustrating.
Just a question to Connor. But don't you think, though, like, this is my perspective from the outside, don't you think, though, it's harder for Arsenal to sign a player because there's so much scrutiny on getting the player? Because they haven't... So, like, for example, if Liverpool signs someone, they've already won the league and they've already got Salah and the superstar. City have already got Haaland and some superstars. United are trying to get back up there. But I think because Arsenal are just... thereabout. It's like we need the one. It's not
what. So I was literally going to kind of touch on that sort of point, right? Because if we look at, it's also a matter of who is actually available in that situation. So you look at some of the other what we consider to be our top clubs in this country and the players we've signed in recent years, right? The biggest team strikers at the moment. So obviously you've got Darwin Núñez, Joshua Zirkzee, Rasmus Højlund, Dominic Solanke, Nicholas Jackson. These are not the marquee names that you want to be bringing into to clubs of our stature. Like you lot being linked to Gyökeres now, right? What did I say literally to you a couple of weeks ago on one of these streams? I look at the players in United's team, and that is not my idea of Man United in my head. Because my idea of United is Scholes, Rooney, Nistelrooy, Ronaldo. My idea of Arsenal in my head is still Fabregas, Henry, Perez, Sanchez, and Liverpool the same, those massive names. So if we look at what's actually available and what the clubs are willing to part with, it becomes more difficult to find that main match. Strikers themselves have died out over recent years anyway. We can see that if we look at the strikers that are there compared to strikers we had 10, 15 years ago, no one even gets close to being considered on lists. Like it's the landscape's been thinned out so much. It's almost like there's nothing left. So like you said, it is finding the right player to actually get us over the line.
To the point that I was going to make next, though, Connor, when you see Liverpool signing Florian Wirtz, how, as an Arsenal fan, does that make you feel? Because that doesn't just move the fucking needle, bro. That moves the whole factory. The whole factory's now just went, made in Germany, BMW, Mercedes-Benz settings.
No, because I think Florian Wirtz is class, but man, you lot got robbed.
What?
Man, you lot got robbed. You lot are talking about how he's the best centre attacking midfielder in the world. He's the second best second attacking midfielder in Germany.
You're not
After-
saying Musiala was better
Jamal
than Wirtz.
Musiala. 100%
Ah,
I'm saying
oh,
Musiala.
man.
come
That's
on, come
That's
on.
not outrageous, though.
So
to
much.
What
say.
do you want?
It's not. It's
do you
not.
want
No,
to
no.
look at what you actually see?
Stop the nonsense, right? Because it is not outrageous to say, but there's no way that he's that highly rated that Bayern want to go and get the next man in while they've got that gem there as the number one.
Supposedly.
So what do you mean
No,
supposedly?
supposedly about it. They were on the
Have you
knees
not-
for 4 months.
Apparently.
Bro,
Wait, was there any,
Connor,
was
this
there
is
any major
copium.
confirmation?
Connor, this is
Their
copium.
Their own director of football came out yesterday and said, "Oh, I was gutted we missed out on him."
Bro, he's gone. We can't be doing this on this show. Do you know what?
Why
This
do
channel
Arsenal
has got a
always have to
reputation.
ruin
This
it?
channel
Why do
is
Arsenal always have
15
to
years.
ruin it?
This channel is
You
15 years
do
deep.
realize though, Errol, Connor just did what he wanted to do. He got you lot worked up, man. You lot go for it, man. He did it on purpose. Come on, man.
I see what it is. No, I see that. That was exclusion of the Southerner. Right? You just got me out. Kept it all Northern, I see.
I'm shocked you didn't go with. Oh, he's not even the best German attacking midfielder. Kai Havertz is. Do a bit of Arteta
No,
profit there for you.
Musiala is.
I don't even think it's wild to say Musiala, because I'll be honest, Musiala's a baller. Like I haven't got no
Come
issue with you
on.
even saying that.
Come
But
on.
even if
Nah,
Musiala's
really
better
though,
than him,
yeah.
he's still the second best, so it doesn't really matter. Does it matter whether he's the best?
Whether I think he's the most, I think he'll be the most sought after player this transfer window.
So
I think obviously the striker situation is going to be interesting, but in terms of that marquee big name player, I think he's going to be the
I
biggest.
think that's
moving
only because
piece.
Musiala signed a new deal, though, bro. Imagine if Musiala was available, he would have been well sought after this summer. You can imagine.
True.
You know what I mean?
I'd buy Wirtz 100 times before I buy Musiala. He's a game changer,
What?
Wirtz. He's a game changer.
Nah, but Musiala, though, baller. Tom,
Here's a
I'm not
good
gonna
question.
lie,
Here's a
man.
good question. How much would the Musiala have cost?
see, I don't
The
think
same
he'd be
amount.
a
£150 million. £150
Same
million.
amount. Same amount.
Yeah.
It costs the same amount as Wirtz, but it comes down to what you want from your attacking midfielder. Musiala's probably a slightly better watch because of how nice in terms of dribbling he is. He's got a much better close control. But for me, what I want from a player who's going to cost as much as Florian Wirtz is costing is someone who makes a difference in the big moments. And Florian Wirtz has won back-to-back Bundesliga Player of the Year. And one of them years, he was the star player as his team went invincible for the first time in Bundesliga history, en route to winning their first ever trophy in Bundesliga history. And if he wasn't injured for the Europa League final, there's a very real possibility Bayer Leverkusen would have done an invincible treble with him as the forefront of it. That
Was he
to me
missing from
adds
that
a little
game?
bit
I
of weight.
didn't even realise that. Was he missing in that game? I
No,
didn't even realise.
But he was like 20. It was like Thiago in the Champions League final. He had to take injections before the game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just
I
a quick.
think what makes the Wirtz to Liverpool thing a bit more intriguing and kind of to probably why Arsenal are struggling to find the player that they need to in the attacking areas, because I think how Liverpool attack, there's a bit more freedom and there's four-man transitioning, or there's more waves of attack. I think Arteta last season, rightly or wrongly due to injuries and stuff, became a bit more cautious. And I think Arsenal don't necessarily need to get a striker who's, you know, the guy of a big name. It's more so how does that attack function? Because I think what Arsenal don't have, I mean, Saka does get a lot of goals and assists, but there's too much reliance on him. I think if they upgraded Martinelli and then only got a striker who's going to help out with 10, 15 goals, I think the whole attack then lifts, because teams triple team Saka and he still gets his game off. But if they had someone else on that left-hand side who you know is a super threat and is going to get 15 goals-ish and 10 assists, then it changes the whole dynamic. Whereas for Liverpool, I think their attack manages to do that a bit more.
So Connor, what if you guys kept Havertz up front but bought Rodrigo? Would you be okay with that?
Yes, but I would still have wanted more. I'd be like, all right, cool, I can accept it. Like if I go into the shop, right, and
Does that give you enough confidence to say that the season then will bring you silverware? Don't quote me for what silverware, but do you think that's enough?
I think it could be, because I think it brings a much better kind of level of dimensions on that wing. And I think it opens up, it takes a lot of pressure off of Saka, means we can actually then use both sides. But like I said, like I was saying with Drifty, I don't know if you lot have had them, right? But I'm obsessed with these new dipped white 12 chocolate bars. And if I go to the shop, I want to buy one of them. If I go into that shop and that's what I'm looking for, and it's not there, but I can still get a dairy milk or I can still get a normal 12 or a Yorkie, I'll be like, all right, fine. I'm not happy, like I'm not over the moon, but I can make do with that. Do you know
This is new information to me. Do I need to go shop? So what? There's a new white chocolate 12, yeah.
The middle isn't white. The middle is normal chocolate. The coating is white.
Oh,
it's
shit.
unreal.
Isn't it great that a white chocolate twirl is more interesting than Arsenal football club?
I've got a problem with all too many of them, but that's the way I see it. Like, I've gone in to get that, and this is the other option. I can make do with that option.
Okay. Well, just to keep you guys updated,
I'm gonna Google that right now.
There are 100. There's still over 350 people in the building, and 113 of you have liked it. So 1 in 3 of you are safe. You're a part of the cartel. 2/3 of you are snakes.
There's ops.
So yeah, you're doing up snake
Wait,
settings right now.
Errol, have you asked them in Spanish? Because snakes speak in Spanish.
Por favor, el like button, motherfuckers. Get on it. Come on.
What kind of world do we live in? This chocolate bar is £1. Jeez,
bro, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
£1.
Before we close,
chocolate bar. What is going on?
Try it.
That's Rodrigo pricing.
I'm definitely trying
it.
But before we wrap up, lads, each team now we kind of know the lay of the land. I just want your dream signing next. So Liverpool, we don't have to think about Wirtz. We shouldn't have to think about Kirkes. Who comes in afterwards? Tom and Drift, Dan United. Given if you do get Mbeumo, Gokares, who is that guy now that just adds to that team? And then finally, Connor, same with you, Tezard, of course. And for you then, Connor, who is the guy that you need to sign to get you over the line this summer?
Tom, do you want to give the exclusive or shall I? Because he plays for Newcastle.
I mean, that's the ideal situation, isn't it? We're sitting there with a man who's got.
If you want to drift the bomber right now, I'll do it.
Yo, there's no better time, bro. Run it.
But bruv, I just look at the way we're moving right now. Slot's ruthless. Edwards is back. I think Hughes is trying to prove a point after a year of doing nothing. And once we start selling players, I think Liverpool are going all out for Isak. I think we sign him. I really think we sign him.
I'll be different then. I'll be different because it's boring if we're all saying the same thing. As good as Ryan Gravenberch was, our midfield needs something a little bit different in there. So you go and get an FA Cup winner in Adam Morton.
I know you've liked him for a while. He's been one that you've liked for a while, man.
I think Adam Morton, whichever team gets Adam Morton, has got probably the best DM in the Premier League in the next 5 years.
Wow.
He won me over after that FA Cup final. He was
he's a joke. He only hasn't got the rep he's got this year because he was injured for the first 6 months. If he'd played the full season, he would have been in the conversations that he deserves to be in. He's an absolute joke.
He's brilliant. I'd still rather believe it, Tom, but Wharton is a brilliant player, 100%.
Okay, Conor, I'll come to you before we close with the United lads.
Yeah.
Who is that guy? Who is he?
You're saying it, providing that we get that striker. We'd say
providing. It could be the striker. It could just be your ideal number one target. Who is it?
For me, the number one target is Gyökeres.
Okay.
But let's say we've got him, right? 100% we've got him. Then I'd need someone on the left wing. Rodrigo is obviously a shout. I would also love someone like Barcola, who's 4th choice selection in that PSG team. He's not getting first team anytime soon. I think he's a great player. He's going to be dangerous. I would say Doué, but he ain't got nowhere.
Yeah, but you do realise Calafiori's playing left wing minutes next year, don't you? Because he's bought too many left backs. One of them needs to go up there. He's his new Kieran Tierney.
I swear we've only got 3 left backs, actually, when you think about it. No, we've got Calafiori, who's actually a centre back / left back, and we've got Zinchenko. Lewis Skelly is a defensive mid player.
Bro. I think Zinchenko's going to Portugal. But yeah, he's only got 1 year.
As long as he's not in London, I'm happy.
Drift, let's operate on the basis that right now they've got Zinchenko, they've got Lewis Skelly, they've got Calafiori, Tommy Asu can also go out there, and they want to buy Jarell Hato, who's more of a left back than a centre back. That's 5 left backs for one position.
But could that be because they're going to move Lewis Skelly back into midfield, which is actually his natural position?
That'd
I
be a
don't
smart
think.
move.
I don't think so because if they're gonna get Zubimendi, then where does he get the
Exactly.
But Partey's probably going to go though, Tez. So
But
like they might see Lewis Skelly as a replacement.
Aren't they
for
offering
Partey.
Partey a new deal?
Yeah.
Well, it's because I don't think they're going to get another injury-free season out of Partey. That was a rarity for me for him to go all
last
year
season
without being injured. He's 32 now. I'd rather Lewis Skelly if I was an Arsenal fan, personally, because he's younger and you know what I mean? Yeah,
100%.
I would. But
Dan United, who is the guy for United? Who is the should be Ineos's, Sir Radcliffe's number one target?
After we've sorted the front line, Emi Martinez. I want a goalkeeper. I want me a goalkeeper who's got balls. Simple as that. We've had to watch a man who puts Vaseline on the post to rub on his gloves game after game. I want Emi Martinez.
Sorry, does Onana put Vaseline on the post?
Yeah.
oh, I thought you were joking.
No.
Hold on. Even Ted was like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it, you know. Oh.
Well, he's not putting super glue on there, is he? Let's be honest. We've all seen the guy. It's not super glue, is it?
But everybody knows that to activate the grip on a glove is water. So what is he doing putting an oil bit? What? I'm so confused. What?
Why'd he put it on the post as well?
So he can keep topping it up, I guess.
Fuck, I conceded 3 already.
Oh
Let me put some more on. Let me put some more on real quick.
Oh, there's a cross coming in. There's a cross coming in. Oh, fucking hell. Come on.
You know what? I told United fans it was going to end in tears. He's a diabolical goalkeeper. He always has.
He's poor. He's poor. Teza, who's your go-to? Who's your go-to for the summer?
Well, the first thing is I wouldn't go for Gyökeres. He'll be third on my list. So if
Third?
Yeah. I just think if as time goes on, I just think Osimhen is still there. I just think United sell the players who they need to sell. They get rid of some big earners and we give him that wage. And the dream would be Cunha, Osimhen and Mbeumo. And then you really, really are jumping a level. And then
you might finish 15th, 14th then. Oof. Scary. might even touch top half, you know, buddy then.
And then the
Would you say cry more in Spanish? Fuck.
The midfielder one, because so similar to Dan, I'd go to Aston Villa, but not for Emi Martinez. The midfielder option, because Villa have PSR issues, I would try and even get Onana or Kamara. No, not Roger. Onana or Kamara, and so our midfield out. One of the two. As in Amadou and Onana.
You can't finish a game though, Tez. He comes off injured every bloody game, man.
One game.
Dan just had PTSD. Yeah, Onana was I can't do another one of them.
One game a week. Bring him in. You know, he was linked with United just before he went to Villa. He's still young. He can do everything that we need in terms of being a stopper in midfield, rotating with Casemiro.
He's good. He's a good player.
If
I
not,
see him knocking on Dan's door. He's been knocking on Dan's door now to calm him down. My name's not Andre, bro.
Yeah,
mate, that is the best video.
That's one of the best
Andre's
clips.
not even my name.
My name.
Not even my name, mate.
Do you know what I love about?
Just quickly, Errol, say United boys, Tez and Dan. What? All banter aside, all jokes. What is a realistic finish for Man U next season?
European football. That's it.
It's hard because I can't envisage until we get the signings. But off the top of my head, I would say 5th or 6th.
8th.
Okay. The one thing that I was going to say then was, I absolutely love the fact that I've just asked United fans, I've just asked Arsenal fans, who is they? Liverpool, we are shopping in a completely different animal right now. Like we've arrived at Waitrose. Like you used to pray for times like this. You guys are down there.
We've waited a lifetime for this.
I waited my whole life, bro. Like
literally, bro.
How much would you be spending on Isak?
I reckon we'll get him for about 130.
Yeah,
I don't think Isak leaves.
That's that pull that Liverpool will have, isn't it?
Jimmy,
do you know what I think he
130
leaves?
million.
Because I've read a lot of reports about Isak that he's completely happy at Newcastle and he'll never force a move. But he believes that this is the period of his career where he has to capitalize on his quote unquote stock. And in a year or two's time, everybody might have strikers, can't afford him. His form might not be as good, and maybe he doesn't get the move the way he has right now. So if you factor that in, you know what I mean? If Gyökeres, Sesko, Ekitike, if all of these guys go to the big teams, there's nobody left to buy him.
His contract runs out in 2028.
He's got 3 years left, so they've got a lot of wiggle room, yeah. But that's what I think we'll have to pay. Plus, we've got the likes of like a Kwanzaa, a Gomez, a Jota, players they want that maybe we can ease leverage. It with. Be like, okay, well, we'll let you have Kwanzaa or we'll let you have Gomez.
That's why I think you could be on something, because I thought we'd have to do that with Bayer Leverkusen for Wirtz. And seeing as we've just done 1-for-1 with him, I think that the level of negotiation for players could go to the Newcastle. If we
Leverkusen want Kwanzaa as well, Errol, so we might still let them have him.
And we also did the deal with Kelleher so they could get somebody as well. So in a roundabout way, the roundabout that happens, Liverpool are trying to move quite shrewd. The thing that I actually think of back the other day was after the last time we played Newcastle and Van Dijk and Isak having that conversation, I think Van Dijk's telling my man, yo, Wirtz is coming, you know, dog. You coming too? They had that little conversation. There was that little clip floating around. I think he was just teeing him up and saying, yo, Wirtz is a done deal, lad. So,
and if Newcastle are smart, they take that 130, 140 that we give them. They put 80 of it on an Ekitike, who is a young Isak, who will become Isak in a few years. Then they've got money for their squad because they do have FFP issues. So they get a player and they get some money to rebuild the squad in other areas. So I'm just using logic. Obviously, I don't know. But I'm just using like logic from information, things we've seen, and I think
I still prefer Alvarez. I still prefer.
I
would prefer Alvarez. Is fucking Alvarez is perfect in my eyes. If I could build my perfect striker, it's not even just he's more like a Liverpool player. If I could build what I think a perfect striker is, it's someone who can drop deep and link up, but also is a threat in the box, capable off both feet. Has a bit of an aerial presence, but it's not his whole game. Can drift out wide if needs be. That's Julian Alvarez. Alvarez is the complete
can do that to a high level, though. I think personally.
But I've got more pedigree with Alvarez. Alvarez has done it in the competitions where I know that it's worthwhile.
That McAllister Alvarez link up as well.
Yeah. I think he's overrated, Alvarez. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know.
I love him as well. I love him. I think he's mega. He's absolutely mega, Alvarez.
I'd send Nunes the other way for Alvarez as well. Genuinely.
How do you lot feel about Garnacho leaving? He was meant to be the next big thing.
Oh, good riddance.
You're happy about it.
Man, your fans don't rate him like that, you know, dog. Don't rate him.
Sorry, we were just talking about, you know, Isak's of this world and Alvarez of this world, and I've just said Garnacho.
Yeah, but
he's stuck in the aisle that they've got in the Aldi, that random aisle that they've got. That's where my man's stuck now.
The middle of Lidl.
Yeah.
Have you seen what Leverkusen have come out and said, though, after just taking all that money for Wirtz? They're like, not sure we can afford him, you know. What? What?
I think the thing quickly on Garnacho, the thing is so to the point you were making about egos before, Errol, he came into United 17 and he was coming off the bench late and he was scoring now and again. And that was his role, the super sub against late tired legs. Because then last season under Ten Hag, not the season just gone, the one 23-24, he's played over 50 games. He was given the confidence to think that he's a starter and he's arrived now. But a lot of those games, he was not up to scratch.
Correct.
One of those issues is he's actually not as good as he thinks he is. I think if
he's Ronaldo, Tez.
If he goes back to a team where he plays 20, starts 20, comes off the bench 20, he'll probably get better numbers because, you know, he'll be able to like develop a bit better. But
he's like Harvey Elliott to that extent.
Big news just
he looks like he's playing Chelsea or Arsenal from the links. Those are the two teams apparently that are seriously interested in him.
We try to find a mad on Chelsea's part if they go.
Garnacho, like there's actually credible links to Chelsea and Arsenal for Garnacho.
Keep him away from us.
We'll take the money. Gyökeres apparently has been given assurances now. It's Pletterberg's just tweeted that he will be allowed to leave for between 60 and 70 million euros. So it looks like we're about to see this.
Rise the bread. One of you boys has got to rise the bread. Show
That's
the
cheap,
intent.
man. That's
cheap.
Apparently, we already offered 65 plus 10 mil add-ons.
Yeah, but he's not an idiot, is he? Come on, he's not going to...
I'll be honest. I don't think Gyökeres comes to the Premier League. That's my wild one.
Well, where do you think he's going?
Where do you think you
Yes,
go?
Jay.
Barcelona, maybe.
I think Napoli I think like a Napoli or Athletic.
Napoli were
Go
meant
big
to
on
be in for Chiesa and Nunes.
That's what worries me. I think
And
Napoli
Højlund.
go, oh, Gyökeres wants to jump with us. We'll go Gyökeres, and then we're sat there going, what the fuck do we do with Nunes then? We don't want him. No one wants him. What do we do? I worry about that.
I feel for you guys. Saudis want him, and he's like, I ain't going there. And you're like, oh,
He can't do anything right in a Liverpool shit. The one time he needed to go, yes, I'll do it, and he didn't want to do it.
Shock.
Yeah, but he's got a life, bro. We can't just make him go somewhere.
I'm one of them ones that I'm a sympathizer for Nunes. I'm not gonna lie. So
you can create a longer highlight reel of his misses than his.
Nunes shut him on the
Nunes
plane.
screams 2000 Syria. Like he just needs to. He just needs to go to Napoli and just cement himself as like a superstar.
I've warned
Nunes is your archetypal Simeone forward. The one who comes in and he's stressed, and Simeone just nurtures him for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden you'll wake up one day and you'll see Darwin Nunes leads all of Europe for goals for Atletico Madrid. You're sitting there going, how the fuck's he scored 25?
Because
he's
good
one season.
That's
He's not, though. He's not.
He is.
He is.
Just don't suit him. The Premier League just don't suit
He's
him.
not, though.
No, but he's not though.
His
Football IQ is.
What did
people have sat here? People have sat here all season since Wirtz has been like confirmed. People have come to me and said, "Oh, let's keep Nunes. Let's keep Nunes for one more year and give him Wirtz." What does that fix? The problem isn't we don't create enough chances for Nunes. We create more than enough for Nunes. Florian Wirtz is not a psychologist. He's not going to sit there in the dressing room and go, listen, Florian, let's work through your childhood trauma, which means you can't put it in the back of the net in a one-on-one situation. No, Wirtz is just going to give him more one-on-ones, which Nunes is inevitably going to miss. And we're going to sit there after drawing 1-1 away to fucking Leeds at Ellen Road and go, if only our striker could put it in the net.
I'm not even saying that he should stay in the Premier League. I'm just saying Man United under Fergie never struggled to create chances, and Diego Forlan didn't look good. He left the Premier League and went on to be one of the best strikers in the world. It happens sometimes.
Forlan was a young 21-year-old. And
stop behind this, Roy.
No, but what I'm saying is, did Forlan, yes or no, was Forlan looking like a bum at Man U and went on to be one of the best forwards in Europe?
Yeah, but the difference is Forlan didn't look like he couldn't play football. Sometimes
he did,
bro. I've seen Darwin do some mad things with the ball. Like that,
but he doesn't mean it though. No, he doesn't mean it. He doesn't mean it. Forlan at least meant some of the bad stuff he done. Nunes runs away after some of these things. Going, fucking hell, how'd I do that?
The lads in the changing room are like, Darwin, how'd you do that? He's like, fuck if I know.
Well, they didn't even do that. They go and go, oh, Nunes, that was boss. How'd you do that? Okay, okay. No hablar inglés, okay. Still don't speak it.
Is he? We've got it. It's fucking Darwin who's been teaching Trent.
Oh, God.
Darwin he's been teaching Trent.
I didn't want to say before, but I did. I think Trent defo speaks to Diaz and Darwin, and Diaz might have gone to Barca. They defo have like a group chat where they just all learn. And then
yeah. On that note, the panel, the man, them. Thank you for joining us. We ran over a little bit, but you know what? It was fully worth it. Sometimes these shows you need to just go over and get things off your chest and just drill into it a little bit more. But boys, thank you very much. Big up yourselves, everybody, for joining us on the Friday Night Vibes. Thank you very much, everybody that's been in the comments as well. Appreciate it. Make sure you all have a good weekend. Happy Father's Day to the man them that are celebrating Father's Day as well. Big up all the dads that are holding it down for the young, the old, and everything in between. Lads, let me know what you're up to. Shout out your channels, and then we will let you guys get on with your weekend. Tom, where you at?
Tom over the one on YouTube and Twitter and that. I just today actually done my first long form video, a little look back on a Spanish speaker I actually like, Thiago, and where it went wrong for him at Liverpool and where it went right for him at Liverpool. So if you want to watch that, go ahead and do it. So
what a player.
Perfect. Dan United, what have you got coming up, bro? Let the people know.
Yes, 21st of June is when my YouTube channel officially starts at Dan United. Looking forward to it. I've been threatening it for so long, and it's been because of shows like this that's really pushed me to do it. So yeah, 21st. I'm still on TikTok. I'm on TikTok every night for the next 8 weeks because of fucking Love Island. So I'll be there 9 o'clock. I ain't watching this. I've just watched a group of men do me over for a season. I ain't watching it at 9 o'clock at night. So catch me at 9 o'clock on TikTok.
Tez, tell the people what you got going on.
Just on X or Twitter for now. The handle is Tezky, but I will start. Which I made 1 or 2 videos for TikTok, but I will start posting more, and then I'll start sharing that as well.
Big up, big up. Drift, tell the people what Team Coppish got going on at the minute.
Well, with this Vert stuff, we've got a lot going on, bro. You know what I mean? So yeah, come and join us at Coppish. We do whatever breaks we do, and we've got some fun stuff coming up over the summer as well. We're going to be doing like some drafts, some quizzes. Yeah, it's going to be fun, man. So every day, sometimes spontaneous, you know what I mean? We do it. And if you want to watch any kind of like random stuff, I'm going to be bringing back my channel, Drifter TV, over the summer as well. Start doing some gaming and some fun stuff as well. So yeah, man.
I need to play you at FM. I saw them FM videos. Oof. Me be you on FM. I want that. I want that series.
But you know I'm a World Cup winner though, right? So you got your work cut.
I want that 3-match series. I want that 3-match series.
I'm big in this. I'm big in this Football Manager game, Tom. I literally won the World Cup, so you know what I mean. We'll see how it goes, but we'll see how it goes.
And Connor, shout out your channels. What are you up to at the minute?
You find me, Connor AFC89, on every relevant platform that is available. Ain't posting nothing in a while. Been a bit lazy. Fell into a rabbit hole of that new Google AI stuff and started doing Bigfoot Arsenal-based vlogs. But until I get back on, you probably find me talking about white dipped 12 chocolate bars and just
I'm going to get one of them tomorrow.
Running around a couple times a week in my Trent Alexander-Arnold football boots.
Yes.
My God.
Yeah, this guy, this guy. Hey, people them, yeah.
It's a hat trick. It's a hat trick of getting the move.
It's a hat trick, bro. It had to be done. But you know what? Nah, it's love always. It is love always, Connor. Big up yourself, holding it down for the Arsenal man. Then, so yeah, thank you. Make sure you drop a like, comment on the video on your way out. We have been the Cartel. This has been your Friday Night Vibes, and it is over and out. People, have a good weekend. Stay blessed.
Peace.